A wise woman once said, "The trick to songwriting is to use the chords that sound good. You know the ones." Well, which ones are they? Let's look at these modes. We're going to look at all of these chord degrees and we are going to rank them, put them on a tier list. I know it looks like a lot of chords, but that's a trick because a lot of them are doubled up. So when we remove the doubles, we're left with this. And then the first step is actually really easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the diminished chords, okay, and we're going to put them all in the bottom tier. We're also going to take this flat 7 minor, we're going to put that in the bottom tier, and then we're going to delete the tier. So now we're down to these ones. And that's not too many, that's a manageable task. I also added the major 3 and the major 6 over here for S's and G's. Let's start with the bottom tier. Let's start with the major 3. This chord is interesting and useful. Even the bottom tier chords are fantastic. They're great chords, you know, because music generally is cool. The 3, if you see it in the wild, it's always leading, the major 3 is leading to a major 4. And that's kind of, as far as I can tell, the only real thing that it does. It's a good trick, but it's only got this one trick. Let me show you what I mean with some examples.
My parents are crying, then I'll dig a tunnel from my window to yours.
So yeah, it's a good chord, but compared to some of these other chords, it's not very versatile, so it's on the bottom tier. Then what do we have? Let's have a look. Flat 2. Okay, the flat 2 to me is a bottom tier chord, but it's surprisingly useful. It doesn't do that many things, but it's a little bit easier to use than you would think being down here in Phrygian. So, I mean, recently for me, even in major, it'll sidle in there, you know, and it's definitely interesting. It's very distinctive. So let's listen to some examples.
Don't wanna be a monkey wrench. One more indecent accident.
You know, it has its own very distinct flavor. I might put it above the major 3. Anyway, what's next? Okay, my first very controversial opinion. To me, the 5, major 5, is a bottom tier chord. Out of all the chords, it's very useful, but it feels like a tool. It doesn't have as much emotion or personality as a lot of chords, and a lot of the time you'll just see it linking the progression back to the 1. It's in harmonic minor too, so that's kind of cool, but to me it's like it's necessary. You do need it, you are gonna use it, but it's not, it's never the standout, you know, it's never the star. And then when it is the star, and I find progressions out there that use the 5 in a very central way, I always do this. I say, oh, the 5, there you go. Oh, the 5. Here is an example of some of those.
As the dawn began to break, I had to surrender.
So that's the 5. What else is in the bottom tier? Okay, the 6 might be bottom tier, but it might be... Oh, major 6. This is right at the bottom. It's a very distinctive chord, but not as distinctive or fun as the flat 2. or as usable. It's really not very user-friendly, and when songs do use it, like, they go kind of out of their way to use it, kind of thing. Strangely, the song Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay has both of these chords in primary roles, and it sounds great. So remember, regardless of any theory, if it feels good, do it. Here are some examples with the 6.
Sometimes I can't believe it. I'm moving past the feeling again.
What is next? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna put the -6 in the bottom tier. No, I can't do it. Yeah, okay, I will. It's very common, it's very dramatic, and if I was asked to create drama very, very quickly, I would reach for the 6th chord because it's fantastic at that. Definitely. The reason that it's placing this low is because it is used a lot, and it can be kind of hammy. It packs a very dramatic emotional punch, but if you don't pull it off, then it makes me go like a... I don't really hate the 6th chord. To me, it functions well as a supplementary chord rather than the star of the show. Also, there's an old trick where you lead to the 1 and then you hit them with the 6 instead, and it's very dramatic, and and it's really sad. I think I've heard it too many times. That's the issue. Yeah.
My parents are crying, then I'll dig a tunnel from my window to yours. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea.
Okay, so what's next? 5 minor. Really good chord. It's not the easiest to use. It's a little unwieldy, and a lot of the time people in minor will prefer to use the major 5 from harmonic minor because it's more oomph-ish. When it works really well, but it doesn't work super, super often. So for me, it's a B tier chord. Let's hear some examples. Okay, so it's just the one example. It was tricky for me to find typical in-your-face usage of the minor 5. If anybody else has some better examples, let me know. Good chord, don't get me wrong. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's time we talked about the 1. So, 1s are cool, and they're also very necessary. Yeah, it's difficult to rank. There's entire traditions of music where you just have the 1 and you don't really have any other chords, and they're great. There are lots of songs that I like, even just in, ambient and that kind of thing, where there's just a 1 and that's all, and it's fantastic. The reason that I've put it in B tier is because in a lot of songs that I don't like every bad resolution that is unsatisfying and doesn't click with you, You know, almost all the time, like they land, you know, on this major one, and then you say, okay, fine. Like I love when people land on the 4 instead, because I'm expecting the 1, and it's like, okay, here comes the 1, and then bang, you get a 4. It's like, yeah, cool. Here are some examples of some uses of the 1 that I think is cool. You know what, let's have a look at the 3 minor. What can you say about the 3 minor? It's a good chord, it's not a great chord. It can hold down sections on its own. I think it's actually kind of underrated, to be honest, because it can star. You know, it can be the star of a whole section. It's potentially the least useful of the non-diminished chords in the major row. But it's also pretty important for a lot of progressions. It's oftentimes a passing chord, but you know, it can hold its own. It just usually doesn't. Here are some examples. Every time we meet, we fall. Every time we meet, we fall apart.
Whoa, round me, bird, seem to fall. I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried. Whoa, round me, bird.
Oh gosh, you know what? I forgot about one. The flat 3 major, going straight to the bottom tier. As a chord, it's good. It's spiky. It's fun, but it's a little bit difficult to use because if you spend too long on it, then you're going to modulate to the relative major, and that is a problem. I'm going to put it down here. You know, a minor, it's not the most stable mode in the world, so I don't really want to tempt fate with that. But it's good, it's spiky, it's in a lot of great songs. Good chord overall. Here are some examples. We're finally up to A tier. Okay, 4 minor. This is a very cool chord in minor. It's a great chord that's kind of spicy if you're working in major. It's not something that I use every day, but it's very reliable and it's and fun and easy to use. Highly recommended. Here are some examples.
Watch out, we just move on up. We move on up. Move on up.
So that's the 4 minor. I'm gonna put the 1 minor in A tier as well. There's a lot that you can do with the 1 minor. You know, if you chill on just the minor 1, it's like a scaffolding, and you can do it. It's like a framework, and you could do all sorts of stuff just inside there. And also, like, resolutions to the 1 minor are just much less. There's much less risk of corniness resolving to the 1 minor than there is resolving to the 1 major. It's safer, you know, and easier. Here are some examples. Last but not least, in A tier is flat 6 major. This chord is, it's a really good chord. It does kind of a similar thing to the minor 4, but a bit better. It always brings something new and exciting when it's used. It's a chord that every time it pops up, it's like, oh, very highly recommended. And here are some examples.
My life comes and goes. My life comes and goes.
Okay, so we're finally at S tier, and we got the 3 S tier chords, in my humble opinion. We'll start with the flat 7 major. This is a god tier chord. It's so important in minor, and so many songs in major could use one of these to kind of like beef it up, or spice it up, or what have you. It's just such a good chord, and I love using it, and nothing else to say. Here's some examples.
And the softest lips ever, 25 years of waiting to kiss them, smiling and waiting.
Alright, now we have the 2 minor. I think it's underrated. It's always welcome in my home, and yeah, when I hear it in the wild as a star of its own progression, it makes me very happy. Here are some examples.
We become silhouettes when our bodies finally go.
You can take me to paradise, and then again you can be cold as ice. I'm over my head. Oh, but it sure feels nice.
Don't
to keep loving you. Now that I know you so well, don't know how to keep loving you. Now that I know you so
Oh, I love the two. And we're left with the very best chord in the world. It's the major 4. Straight to the top spot. Forget about it. No, let's put this here. That's more balanced. I had about 20 examples that I wanted to use in this video, and I had to cut it down to 4. But I could make an hour-long video about how the 4 is the greatest chord. I just really like it. Here are some examples.
and the kids that keep me alive. 'Cause the music
Sunsets been a freak show on the weekend, so I've been driving out to the suburbs to park at the Goodwill, stare at the chemtrails with my little brother. He said you called on his birthday, you were off by like 10 days.
I guess the good times, they were all just killing me. Got air, got water, and I know you can carry on. The good times are killing.
And that brings us to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, if you are going to use music, to use it for good and not evil. If you had a nice time, please consider giving me a thumbs up and a subscribe, or at least one video a year, because I always try to make small videos and then they become very large videos, and I never finish them. Okay, thanks, bye.